So in this video, I'm going to talk about the first secret that's really, really important, and actually a lot of authors resist it on purpose because there's a lot of advice out there which leads them to believe something that I think is actually a little bit dangerous and not profitable and not emotionally satisfying for artists. And that just is the idea that you should only listen to your muse and your inspiration. You should completely shut out the market, or like what happens after you publish the book. And I want to ask you one question, which is, let's imagine you finish your book, or you have a book out there. It's something you worked on for a long time, you really believe in it, you think it's really good, you put it out in the world. Would you rather have nobody read it and not get any reviews, or maybe get a couple reviews that are like, nah, this was okay, I didn't really like it, I didn't enjoy it, or maybe I gave up, it wasn't for me? Would you want to do that? So after writing this book and spending so much time, is that the kind of aspirations you have? Or would you rather have thousands of people read your book, love your book, give you positive reviews, share it, and buy it for their friends and be like, you have to read this, this is the best book I've read in my life? That's probably the better sounding aspiration, right? That's probably what most authors actually want. The problem is there's this huge disconnect because most authors are writing things for themselves and they don't believe in writing to market, which means thinking about how to satisfy readers. And so some authors accidentally get lucky and they write a book that readers love. But most authors, the vast majority of authors, are writing books that nobody actually wants. And they are deliberately avoiding story architecture. So there are universal principles of story architecture to tell a satisfying story. Whether you're writing nonfiction or fiction, there's a way to construct a book to make it emotionally satisfying. So when people read the book, they're like, wow, this was great, I love this book. If you want to learn how to tell stories that readers love, you can learn those things. But most authors, they don't want to learn that. They don't want to actually learn how to do those things, and they resist it. So what most authors do with their first book is they just make it all up as they go along. And they love the experimenting process. They love feeling like, you know, it's kind of a treasure hunt because it's difficult, and during the process of putting this thing together, the muse kind of whispers in your ear and it all comes out of nowhere, and it's so satisfying to create this thing, and you should feel very proud when you're finished with it. But if you write a book, the first one you write is probably not going to be very good. What you need to do is have lots and lots of practice. You need to learn how to write faster and get better, because if you want to be a professional writer, then you need to commit to learning the rules of your craft so that you can get better on purpose. What a lot of authors do is they refuse any kind of templates or cliches or tropes, and they want to do something totally new and different and original. That's not what readers are actually looking for. Most readers, especially for commercial fiction, like if you want to write specialty literary fiction that's completely game-changing, that's fine, but then you're intentionally writing for a very small market that's also much more competitive. So for that kind of book, you're probably going to need, like most readers, they don't want to read those kind of books. So you need massive media attention because you need people convincing readers to read your book, even though it's not exactly what they want. It's not entertainment, it's not enjoyable, but they still might read it if they think it's really good. So you can write that kind of book if you want to. Most authors who write those kind of books won't make any money, and that's fine. It's totally okay to write books that you want to for your own personal pleasure. But every author says, I only write for my own personal pleasure. I write for the art. I'm an artist. I'm a creative person. I don't want to just write shit to the market. Most authors say that. And after they finish writing their book, they go out and they try to market it. So then they come to my group and they try to figure out, how do I build a platform? How do I get more book reviews? How do I sell my book? That's what most authors do, and that's why it's very difficult for most authors, and why almost all authors are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, and they can't get any traction, they can't get any book reviews. I often get people in my group who are like, I'm gonna give up. I've been doing this for 2 years. I wrote 2 or 3 books, but it's just not working. What am I doing wrong? The answer is, first, you're probably doing everything wrong, because when you learn how to publish, it's probably your first time building an online business. So you have to learn cover design and formatting, author websites, marketing, email list management. There's so many things to learn. It takes a while to get it all. And I'm gonna try to teach you how to do some of the things quickly by avoiding a lot of the crap that doesn't work and focusing on a few simple things you can do to sell more books faster. But it still takes a while to learn. And most importantly, the biggest indicator of your success is how well your book fits with what the market is looking for. That's not what most authors want to hear because it goes against their belief system. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. But on a pragmatic level, if you are making something, your sales are always going to be limited by the number of people who are looking for the thing that you've made. And the easy way to sell books without any marketing, which is kind of my whole thing, is I don't like to do marketing. I'm lazy. I want to write books. I don't want to spend all my time marketing my books. So what I need to do is position and package my books so that they're immediately attractive and they perfectly match what readers are already searching for. So when readers go to Amazon or Google and they type in keywords like best young adult mermaid fantasy books or best books on being more creative or whatever, I want my content to show up. I want my books to show up, and I want my books to be exactly what they're looking for. So they're like, oh, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I like to read. And then I don't have to convince them to buy it. I don't have to sell them on my book. It's a perfect product fit for what they're looking for. This is not a compromise. This is not selling out. It's just my personal belief that creative people have a duty and a responsibility to create things of value. If you can make things and you want to make an impact on the world, it's better to make a bigger impact, which means making things that more people enjoy, because then you're making a bigger impact on the world. I don't think that's selling out. A few quick points that I'll end with. A lot of people love the classic Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which was written almost 100 years ago. And what people remember of that book is, if you think it, you can do it. If you plan it, you can achieve it. And it's all about positive thinking. So a lot of people just write the book they want to write, and then they just believe it's going to be miraculously a bestseller somehow. If only they get on Oprah, if only they get some influencer to support them. And basically they're looking for support because they're only believing that the universe is going to make their goals come true by magic. And it's important to have positive thinking. But what people forget about that book, Think and Grow Rich, is that it says very clearly, first you have to plan how much money you want to make. Then you have to think exactly how you're going to provide that level of value, because there's nothing, you can't create something out of nothing. You can't create money out of nothing. You have to be creating something of value that matches that much money. So if you want to make an extra $1,000 a month, which is my beginner goal, I want to help you make $1,000 a month publishing your books. You need to provide $1,000 worth of value. That means you need to provide something super valuable for 1,000 people. If you want to make $10,000 a month, you need to make something that's going to satisfy 10,000 readers. The things that you choose to make, depending on the demand for that type of book you're writing, will make it easier for you to sell more books and make more money. But you have to be providing value. You can do that on accident. Most authors do that, and most authors fail. 99% of authors lose money publishing their books. You can look up the statistics, but there's something like 4 million books on Amazon, and only 10,000 books, the top 10,000 of all the books in the world, are really making money. And by money, I mean like $300 a month per book. So you would need about 3 books at $300 a month to make roughly $1,000. But that's only if you're staying in the top 10,000, or you have lots and lots of books that stay in the top 20,000 or 40,000. Most authors are like below 1 million, which means they're not selling any books ever to anybody. A lot of authors, like I said, they come to me after they finish writing the book. What I would like to help you do with guerrilla publishing, and this is really a totally new way of writing and publishing books, is not just to focus on the book marketing after you're done, but focus on creating value, being a professional author by creating books that readers love on purpose from the beginning. If you do that, it's so much easier. I have a lot of resources. I know also a lot of people love Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art because it helps you produce the work. I know that resistance and struggling with writer's block or finishing the work, I know that's a big problem for a lot of authors. A lot of authors, they work on a book for 10 years and they never ever finish. And there are reasons for that. But the main one is if you don't know your audience, you don't actually know what you need to write. If you're not studying story architecture or storycraft, you don't know what's wrong with your book. If you're spending 5 or 10 years writing it, you probably have like a huge pile of crap with tons of good scenes, but it's not a book. It's not an emotionally satisfying book. If you want to write a book that readers love, you have to do it on purpose. You have to plan it intentionally. And there's ways to do that. You can start with a template or a format. You can follow all the tropes and the bestsellers in your genre. You still need to write the best book in the world. Like, you want to deliver on all the expectations readers have of their genre, the reasons they love that genre or the topic. You want to deliver on their expectations, and you want to go better and do them better than they've seen before. So it should be similar to all the books they love, but also better. So it's not about writing crap to game the system. It's about writing better quality books that still satisfy readers. I want to help you to try to do that, but you need to be willing to do that kind of work. A lot of people resist it. If you are having trouble with this idea of writing to market, if you love the war of art, which a lot of people do, which helps you overcome the creative resistance, which is really important, Steven Pressfield has another book, which is Nobody Wants to Read Your Shit. And it's actually a great point on book writing. There's a lot of good like plotting resources and books, and I have lists of them that I can share with you, but I really like that one because a lot of people like The War of Art, but they haven't read Steven's follow-up, which is Nobody Wants to Read Your Shit, because a lot of writers are doing the work because they believe in not writing to market, and they're finishing the work and then they can't sell it. And maybe that happens to you. Maybe you've already published something and you just can't sell it. So you can do the work first and then try to sell it and then fail. That's what most authors do. They spend years failing, and then they go back and read something like Nobody Wants to Read Your Shit or some of my resources on writing to market, and they learn how to do it the right way. There are some authors who are making crazy amounts of money. I'm only making a couple thousand a month from my Kindle books, although I did have, an $8,000 a month a while back when I started launching fiction. I haven't written fiction in a while because I've been focused on other projects and doing some nonfiction stuff, but I do know that I can make a living as a writer just by writing more books, and every book I write is going to make more money. That makes it so much easier for me to focus and have the confidence on writing more books, because I know my readers are going to love them, because I have an audience that's waiting for my book. So all I have to do is publish and share it to my email list, and they will buy it, and I can get go up to not only become a #1 bestseller, which is actually pretty easy, but consistently stick in the top of Amazon and make money every month for years without marketing. That's what I can do. Those are the things that I want to teach you how to do yourself. So I hope that this free video series and all the free videos and resources in the Guerrilla Publishing community are helpful for you. If so, make sure you sign up for the free challenge. If you haven't already, I have a 5-day challenge, which will basically walk you through these videos, but also give you some action steps so that you can participate and engage. And I'll try to set up some really easy stuff that you can do to see results right away, because I want to help you to take action and see results. It's just, I know a lot of authors struggle with the overwhelm and the frustration, and a lot of people are tired. I don't want you to give up like I did when my first book was a failure. I don't want you to give up and stop writing. I just want you to pivot a little bit and figure out how to write books that sell on purpose. It's so much more rewarding, it's so much easier, and you don't have to spend all your time trying to market books. Anyway, so this is this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about specifically how to publish for free, because what a lot of authors do is they spend way too much money and they go in debt, or they buy some expensive publishing package. There's a lot of scams and a lot of gurus who will take tons of money. There's a lot of like writing coaches. They'll advertise really hard and they'll really try to sell you on a program. I want to caution you against spending too much money to publish your first book. That's a mistake a lot of authors make. I want to help you publish cheaply so that your books can be profitable right away. So we're going to talk about that in the next video. Thanks, bye-bye.